Hi guys, it's Sam and I'm back with another video for lawnfawn. Today I'm going to make a fun card using the new Croc My World, Wild for You, Pool Party, On the Beach, the Stitched Pond die set, and the Stitched Ripple background die set. I'm also going to be using the brick stencil, but I didn't know it at the time, story of my life, so I didn't show it. I'm coloring all of my images with Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. I use Bristol, yep, just checked, it's not Bristol, Strathmore Mixed Media Vellum Surface Paper. And I color all my images mostly the same way. I spritz some water on my craft mat and then I dampen my water brush and set it to the side till I need it. Then I use the usually 3 different shades of the same color. I start with the darkest shade where I want the shadow, then I use the medium shade, and then I pull it all out with the lightest shade. And if I still think it needs a little bit of contrast or a little bit more lightening, I will use the water brush and dampen it up again. I had to use these cute little critters. I don't personally know the difference between an alligator and a crocodile. I am fairly confident it has something to do with their snout and perhaps the height of their eyes. I don't know. Either way, I'm probably going to interchangeably call these guys alligators and crocodiles. I guess for the sake of the card, they're crocodiles since I use that as the pun. But I digress. Of course, I thought, how can I have a summer card with no rainbow colors? So I'm coloring the umbrella and I will also do the beach ball in rainbow colors. And I am using brown as my darkest shade for yellow just to kind of tone down the brightness of the yellow, but still add a shadow to it. And then I also use brown when I'm shading red. You may have seen that before I skipped right past it. And I also use brown when I shade orange. I use different shades of brown depending if I'm using it as the darkest for red or orange or yellow. So for red, I use the darkest brown I have, then I use my regular red, and then I use a little bit of an orangey reddish, and when I pull all that out, it makes like the perfect red color, right? And for yellow, I use a medium yellow, and then that adds the perfect amount of shading for yellow. Crazy, right? You may also be looking at my images and wondering, Sam, why do you have party hats and a balloon? Well, my friends, at this point, I had a rough idea of what I wanted the card to look like, but I wasn't sure if I wanted it to be a birthday card or a summer card. I wasn't sure, so I figured I'll stamp them and color them just to be safe. I always save the images that I don't use for another card, so no big deal. And I do choose just a regular summer card, but this would have been absolutely adorable as a birthday card too. So you can keep that in mind if you choose to make something similar. And oh yeah, my life preserver is just yellow and gray because I did mention this in the last video, but I just love the yellow and gray colors for that life preserver. I just think it's so cute, especially when I was going to pair it with the alligator when he goes swimming. And that's it. That's the coloring. Everything's so cute and happy and ready to go on a card. Okay, so now we're going to start with the rest of the card. I die cut a panel of white cardstock with the stitched ripple backdrop, and then I die cut that with the stitched pond. It's a lot of stitching, but I knew I wanted it to have that detail, so So that's why there's all the stitching. Now I'm just going to ink blend my little, I don't know if you want to call it a pool or pond, and I'm using Distress inks. I start with Blueprint Sketch, and Mermaid Lagoon, and then I use a little bit of wilted violet at the darkest part just to really saturate the deep end, quote unquote, of this pool. And then I finish it off with my lightest color, which is salvaged patina. And then here you can see me pondering if I wanted to splatter ink on there or water. If you know my cards, you know I am 1000% all in when it comes to splattering distress inks. It's just my favorite thing. And I chose not to for this card. I had restraint. So you can tell me, should I have added splatters? I mean, it's water. I thought, why not? But I didn't this time. Let me know what you would have done. Next, I'm using the brick stencil and white embossing paste, but I didn't want to do white on white this time for the background. So I just used a little bit of manatee ink and I mixed it with my white embossing paste. Here I ran out, so I'm going to do it again. And I made the perfect shade of very light gray for the pool tiles. What's it called? When you walk, the area around the pool. And so I'm going to set that aside to dry, and I'm heat embossing part of my sentiment. I'm heat embossing the Have A and the Summer from Pool Party with white onto some black licorice cardstock. And the rest of the sentiment is going to be created with Henry's ABCs. Oops, I forgot to mention, I also used Henry's ABCs. Sorry, guys. I die cut them with fog cardstock and also white cardstock. And for the white cardstock, I'm going to use Twisted Citron and Lucky Clover Distress Oxide inks to add some color. Because since I'm making a pun, I really wanted to highlight that pun. So they're crocodiles. I'm highlighting Croc because they're going to have a croc in summer instead of a rocking summer. Like, have a rock in summer, have a croc in summer. I thought it was cute and funny. So anyway, this is like the simplest ink blending. And then I'm just going to overlap the fog cardstock on top and have a little bit of the green cardstock peek through. Like I said, just for a little bit of emphasis, nothing crazy. I wanted to go gray because I didn't want a stark black contrast since I already had black with the rest of the sentiment. As I was putting the card together, the gray kind of blended in with the background, so maybe it wasn't the best idea, but I liked it in the end. Okay, so I'm using the lawnfawn glue and attaching everything to my card. And I'm using also my acrylic block to hold down everything. Since the background is so textury, it kind of needs a little bit of help sometimes. So that's where my acrylic block comes in. And I'm just kind of trying to decide the layout of my card. I originally was going to have the big sentiment be in the middle, but I do end up keeping it in the bottom, and I kind of like that. It, really helps not distract from the scene. So, okay, that's what I decide on. I have foam tape on the 2 tiny banner strips, and I'm just going to pull those off and set it aside, I guess, because now I'm attaching the umbrella. Again, using my acrylic block to hold it down. There's foam tape on both alligators and the speech bubble, and I'm just taking those off. And once that's all off, I do also add glue because I don't want this card falling apart in the mail. And now I'm going to use the same glue to attach the sentiment to my card. And it's really easy. I did leave a little bit of space between the croc and the ing, just because at first glance you may not know what that word should have been. Crocking. So hopefully it, helps make the pun stand out. That's the point. I can't resist making a pun, especially when I have these cute lawnfawn critters. Puns are just the best part of opening a card and then getting a cheeky little laugh, right? Also, the tiny alligator in the inner tube, I just can't. It's just so cute. I love it so much. And he's saying keep cool because I don't know about where you are, but it is currently so hot here. I live in South Carolina and it's always hot, but it is especially hot this year. All right, so everything is attached and I'm just going to add some tape and put it onto my actual card base. And the card is done and look how happy and bright it is. I love the pun. I love those crocodiles and the colors really just are so exciting. I hope you had a great time making this card along with me. Be sure to check it out on the Lawnfawn blog and have a great day. Bye!